Welcome to another episode of the Jampack Report today for March the 5th of 2021. Of course, my name is Samuel Adams and this is a daily gaming news podcast meant to bring you the hottest news you need to know from around the industry, hosted on YouTube and podcast services around the world 5 days a week. It's your one-stop shop for everything you need to know. So if you enjoy the show and you like what you see, hit that subscribe button and keep coming back for more. But today, I have bad news for Artifact fans, all 100 of you, because it looks like the Dota 2 card game is beginning to wind down to a close. But the good news is both versions of the game have gone free to play, and you can dive in now if you do want to experience Valve's card game. But this news comes by way of a post on Steam which reads, quote, Artifact, the Dota 2 card game, shipped in November of 2018. Despite good initial sales, our player count fell off pretty dramatically. This warranted a shift from the service and update development model we had planned to a full reevaluation of the game's mechanics and economy. It's now been about a year and a half since the current Artifact team began work on a reboot in earnest. While we are reasonably satisfied we accomplished most of our game-side goals, we have not managed to get the active player numbers to a level that justifies further development at this time. As such, we have made the tough decision to stop development on the Artifact 2.0 beta. However, we recognize that both versions of Artifact still have players and still have value to the community. For this reason, we are opening both games up to make them available for free to everyone. Final releases of both Artifact Classic and Artifact 2.0 Beta, renamed Artifact Foundry, are now available. Technically, Artifact Foundry remains an unfinished product, but most of what's missing is polish and art. The core gameplay is all there. While both games will remain playable, we don't plan to ship any further gameplay updates. Here is an overview of the final changes to Artifact Classic. The game is free for everyone to play. All players get every card for free. You will no longer be able to buy card packs. Paid players' existing cards have been converted into special collector's edition versions, which will remain marketable. Marketplace integration has been removed from the game. Paid event tickets have been removed. Customers who paid for the game will still earn packs of collector's edition cards for playing, and players who got the game for free will not. The final release of Artifact Foundry looks like this. The game is free to play for everyone. Players will gain access to cards by playing the game. All cards are earned this way. No cards or packs will be for sale, and Artifact Foundry cards are not marketable. All final card art that was in the pipeline is now in the game. In short, when we say free, we really mean free. For a detailed explanation of how Artifact Foundry differs from the Artifact Classic, you can find more on their official blog. But they say, quote, we are grateful to all Artifact players, and particularly those who were able to help us tune and refine what would become Artifact Foundry. The team feels this is the approach that best serves the community. We are proud of the work we have done on both games and excited about delivering them to a much larger audience of gamers. To install and play now, you can head over to the store page on Steam. Thanks, the Artifact team. Not really a big shock here for this one. This is more of a PSA. Unfortunately, not every big game is going to be able to make it, regardless of what company is behind it and regardless of how much funding they have. And Artifact came out at a very interesting time. It was the true rise of Hearthstone, and it was really hitting its kind of crescendo because the card game fad was really going strong. And it's not really a fad. It's still a large part of the industry, but it seemed to be the core focus during that time period. And so Artifact made sense at that time. Even at its debut, though, it was not received well by the community. If you look on the official trailer on YouTube, it has an abysmal like to dislike ratio. And so the community never really did get behind this in full. I believe that whenever the game first launched, there were 11,000 players at peak, and then it dropped down to roughly 1,000 about 3 months later, and then it's hovered around 100 in the recent days. But maybe it'll go back up now since the game is completely and totally free to play. No card packs to purchase, no game to buy, you just dive in and play the card game. But just a general PSA, looks like that is out now. But our second and final story of the day, very light news story yesterday. Diablo 2 Resurrected lets you import your original Diablo 2 saves. This news comes by way of an interview with IGN Middle East with Matthew Setterquist, I believe I said that name correctly, who is the producer on Diablo 2 Resurrected. And he says, quote, yes, keep your old save files. Back when we were working on the remaster, we wondered if the old save files would work, so we kind of shoved it in and it worked. So yes, your local single-player save files will carry over. Very cool story here. So ultimately, a game that is very, very old is going to be able to be picked up right where you left off way back in the day, and you can toggle between the remastered and the original modes in Diablo 2 to get that kind of visual taste that you would remember from way back in the day. Awesome to see this included in the game, and I think it really does speak to the old school players, where you might have had somebody that put 1,000 hours into Diablo 2 and they can just boot that up directly. That is incredibly cool. Now, it is worth mentioning, I don't believe this is coming to like the Nintendo Switch version of the game or the console versions of the game. This is probably just for the PC version. That has not been confirmed, and I don't see it mentioned here in the article, but it is worth assuming that since the game was not out on these other pieces of hardware, that PC players are probably going to be able to bring their saves forward, but I will provide an update if any more news comes down the pike. But that rounds out today's very brief episode of the Jampack Report. If you enjoyed today's show, drop me a like down below and let me know what stories caught your eye. But specifically, did you play Artifact? Will you play Artifact? And do you think these card games are going to see another resurgence in the years ahead? We'd love to hear what you have to say. But until Monday, you guys have a fantastic weekend. I'll see you on Sunday for an episode of The Drop, and enjoy your time in the world. What a weird way to end a podcast. Let's roll with it. Peace.